Mr. James Scarlett, we go again.
Yes, we do, mate. How are you doing?
Mate, I am fucking up for this one today. I am up for this one.
Good. You've had a new haircut by the looks of it.
I got a new kit, mate. I was that
Looking
excited.
good, mate. Looking
I,
good.
I was that excited I went and get my hair cut for it. So, my day today is paying band deposits and
Oh,
deposits too. So, let's say a conservative estimate about 50 bank payments transfers that I need to get through today. I've maybe managed about eight before I got on here, and every bank transfer comes with its own problem. It's not me sending you 10 grand into a UK bank account. It's like sending to a new agency in Belgium or Germany. So then the fraud check comes up, and then you need to go through the 15-minute fraud check. And then the at the other side, they get back to you and go, "We told you to send it in Great British Pounds, and it's arriving us at Euros." Now I'm about like 20 years into this, I've sent it in Great British Pounds. I've got no idea. I've got no control about how it shows up.
mate, international payments are horrific. It's unbelievable that we can, of all the technology in the world, all the amazing stuff we can do, there is no like simple banking system internationally. It's horrible. And
Oh.
you get one tiny thing wrong. I don't mean the account number. I mean like the address or something. You have to put in so much information. It's horrible.
It's get through, and then it's the IBAN to get to this bit, and then they want you to use please use Wise because this means it will show up at a different thing. And then the day I moved from Halifax to Starling a couple of years back because I was under the impression it was sold to me as it was free international transfers, but what they actually meant is you can use it like a Monzo card abroad and you don't get charges. The charge is still on top of it. So you're sending a 10 grand fee. There's like a 4% charge on the 10 grand to get sent. And if the fee ultimately is 20 grand and you're only sending the deposit, you get hit with a £10 charge for sending out international transfer, then a 4% charge, and you need to do it twice.
Yeah,
It's
unbelievable.
that's so if I seem very merry to be on here talking to you about fucking we lost the sea, it's because I'm not sending international. I mean,
I
do you don't do that anymore though, do you?
No, but to be fair, I always feel like I have to apologize for this. But I used to do it. Like all the shit jobs at our festivals, I did them. And like Danielle looks after that now with Sarah. And it is, and I know how horrible a job it is, and I'm glad it's not me doing it anymore.
Do you
Um,
know the worst one? I mean, you're talking about bank transfers now. When and it's never the agent, it's always the agent's assistant. The bank says, "Can you send proof of payment?" And you're like, "Can you not just check the bank again?" I mean, they show up. I mean, it's 2024. They show up within seconds.
mate, there is a button called delete. Whenever an agent sends through, can you send proof of payment? I just go delete. Like, no, you
Goes
can
into
fucking check your own bank account, you prick.
it gets in. It goes into the contracts bin. It's like, because they want you to be like, you're trying to take a piss now. Aren't you? I mean, why on earth would I need to send you proof of the fact that I've sent you 4 grand? Well, your account says 4 grand's arrived from Gavin Mac or the company name. I mean, like that makes no sense. That sounds like something that used to happen in the 80s and people have just continued it.
Yeah, I mean the worst bit is when it's international payments, and there's often a thing where you can see it's left your bank and they can't see it on their end, and that is painful. And but with UK mostly I deal with UK agents, and it's like they're asking for proof of payment, and it's just farcical. They're not getting it. I don't care that. I mean, obviously, if you're like a big agency, they have got hundreds of payments, probably thousands a week coming in,
Yeah,
but shows all over the world. But that is not my problem.
yeah. That's I don't know if we're going to get a 10-minute segment in transfers, but the other one
No,
that always makes me feel nervous is like I want to just write damnation and then the date, but they want the reference which is DSB 427/XY. And I'm like, I would rather just say damnation so I could fucking prove that that's there. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
aye,
yeah.
that's my day. That is
It's
my day.
it's pretty painful. I'm glad I'm not you today. So, well, one thing I wanted to start with was welcoming our new listeners because we've had a bit of a mad week, haven't we? Something has happened.
Something has happened to the algorithm has had a wobble. So what was it last? Was it Thursday? No, it was the date it went out. So last Thursday, the suddenly you're just seeing. So by the time you're finished, it was 3 times the download or 4 times the download we'd normally expect on a release day. And the weirdest thing about that, it wasn't even the release podcast. It was like this army of new listeners had just been
Yeah,
subjected to our podcast via one of the platforms.
and we're talking about thousands. There's thousands of new people listening to this podcast. So it's fucking bonkers. We didn't do anything. It just happened, and I thought it would probably be nice to say hello and welcome and maybe explain to people what the podcast is in case
It's,
they've just
it's not
jumped
a
in at the
banking.
right.
It's not a banking podcast.
They've already fucked up now.
They gave it one chance. But this podcast is two promoters on one podcast. If you never got that from the name, and it is myself, Gavin McAnally of Damnation Festival, the world's best metal event, and
I'm James Scarlett from 2000 Trees and ArcTangent, two best rock festivals in the UK.
there you go. He's a wee bit more.
And what do we talk about on it? Would you
We
say?
talk about what goes up. We talk about we talk about the fees on international bank transfers.
Yeah.
Mostly, yeah. And we pull back the curtain on the industry across all facets of the industry. Everything from tour managers to backline to advancing and what it takes to put together a festival in the UK with the acknowledgement that we're not pretending that we've got all the answers to everything either. And most of it is a joke about ourselves and industry, that it's a lot of chances out there just fucking trying to do a decent job in the wild, wild west.
Yeah. And look, if you're new to the podcast, I would say go back and listen to the Riders episodes, listen to the Ball Ache of Billing and the exact cost of our festivals. And that those three kind of show you what the festival's about. But yeah, welcome. It's pretty exciting to look at. We've got like a little we can log onto the system, can't we, and see these graphs. My wife Lizzie keeps saying to me, "Stop showing me the fucking graphs." She's like, "I don't want to see fucking graphs." I'm like, "Yeah, but look what happened in the last week."
Look how big it is.
So
Oh mate, oh mate. And you
good.
know what? And because I do the same with the sales graphs for Damnation. You have one day where you've got a bit them showing my wife in bed, she's just like, this fucking guy and his graphs, man. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited.
So what have you been up to? You got 4 weeks, I believe, now.
Oh
4 weeks and
fuck,
counting.
man. Fuck. It all seemed like we were just getting there. You know what I mean? I've talked previously about sending out the production sheets where you're trying to get an idea of how many passes you need for the bands. If they're comes running up the nightline or in a van, do they want us to sell their merch? They're going to sell their own merch. A lot of peripheral stuff becomes problematic in the day if you don't have it buttoned down beforehand. So Angela's done a fantastic job of that. And we're a month out and we've got all the information. I don't think we've ever had every band over 2 days all buttoned up a month out. And then as soon as you're celebrating one thing, you lose a band. So serious health issue within the Lord Dying camp. So first and foremost, get well soon to however that affects in their camp. But someone who that whole European tour for Lord Dying, they're doing with Black Tusk. Lord Dying have come off it, and Black Tusk are going solo. So you have to start balancing things about. We brought in High Parasite. That's Aaron Stainthorpe of My Dying Bride's new project. So that was great to be able to get our hands on them at the last moment. And that was announced yesterday, very popular. But it has no small knock-on effects to, right, where do they go in the bill and how does that affect other bands and its timings and when can they get there? There's a domino effect when you lose a band. It's not just as plain and simple. Yeah, I noticed someone was like, "Why didn't you book this black metal band?" Now that stage is stoner doom oddness. You know what I mean? It's like low and slow. I mean, just dropping in a weird black metal band in the middle of it would be make no sense whatsoever. So, I mean, it's as like for like as we were going to manage at that point. It seems to have been quite popular, but it just sets you back. You think you're going in one direction, and the next thing you know, you get hit with a new hurdle and you're off in another direction for a couple of days because that takes time as well. You're contacting art bands, you're haggling. We're talking about booking bands and a year out and haggling a fee and the ball like a billing. Now we're doing that 4 weeks out. You know what I mean? When it's
Yeah.
just there's no time for it.
I'm always like, whenever I'm booking last minute replacements, I'm always like, oh God, this wasn't in my plan. I haven't got time to do this. And you probably booked Lord Dying months and months and months ago, and it's just like all of that time that you did on that is just wasted, isn't it? All the arguments over billing, the negotiations, all of
Where they
that is
go, what they
pointless.
need, and the
Yeah,
back line they need. Because with something that's so fucking nuanced as Lord Dying might have a right-handed drummer, and then High Parasite show up a left-handed drummer. And if they're slap bang in the middle of the stage where we don't want to change that drum kit, or there's not the ability to put 9 different drum kits on it, suddenly now you've got a production issue that you need
yeah,
to identify beforehand and not just have them show up and deal with in the day. So just stuff like that. As I say, the domino effects are just one relatively minor change can it knocks things on. So otherwise things are flying, things are good, ticket sales are good and strong. Um, the organisation it's coming along nicely. So that was just what a wee huddle at the last minute. But hopefully, touch wood, we've had. It's not like we're not accustomed to this and having this happen just the week of. So touch wood, that's the last of the lineup changes.
Good. Yeah, fingers crossed on that. You look more relaxed than you did last week, so I'm happy with that. That's good. Maybe it's
Yeah,
a new haircut.
yeah,
Could be.
it's a haircut and just the monotony of fucking sitting through with sort codes and account numbers.
Yeah.
It's hard to get too worked up. How about yourself? I mean, obviously this pod's going to be about the ArcTangent. We'll get to that, but how's everything else going?
Mate, great. So we now have four headliners for 2000 Trees booked. So you might notice that they're only 3 days. So I have a co-headliner on one night and headliner on each of the other nights. It's never happened before in October. But all this bollocks about I've been saying recently about drip feed in the lineup is like actually at the end of October you're going to get a chunk of the lineup and probably all the headliners. There might be a fifth headliner to come, but that's four. So that is mad. That is amazing. Matt, who runs our press and also does a bunch of lineup consultancy, helps me with the lineup. I just spoke to him on the phone and he was saying to me, God, when did we book Don Broco last year at the chats? They were both like, it was earlier this year. It was like January,
Yeah,
February, March of 24. And
yeah,
I'm now stood here in October 24 with four headliners in the back. It feels really good. I said to him, don't think that this will be the new norm. It'll be hard again next year. He's like, what? He asked me, why has it been so much better this year getting headliners over the line? I'm like, it's just luck. It's like sometimes bands are available, sometimes bands are not available. Sometimes download books the band you want, or slam dunk books the band you want. Sometimes there's a new American tour. It's totally random. I really believe that.
yeah,
So like, obviously, if you lined up all the Damnation lineup you've ever had, you could rank them in order of which one's the best.
yeah,
It would be a personal opinion. And the one that's the best is probably is not the year that you were the best booker. It's just you had a lucky year, right?
yeah,
Some years you're just like, fucking hell, look at me, aren't I brilliant at this? And some years every band says no.
yeah.
If I seem excited, it's because I am. Four
Yeah,
headliners. Fucking
yeah.
yes.
I mean, I tell you what, there's something about, as I say, that you're dealing with some of the shit in the moment, and this damnation, and this is definitely the. Oh, where's our hotel rooms? What happened to ground transport? Can we get a second dressing room? That's the period that I'm in, or our
Yeah.
team's in right now. And you're at the point of just headliners falling out the sky. So I'm a bit like I'm a positive guy, and I like to be surrounded with somebody. I'm going to go on and just take some of James's positivity right now before I go back to fucking sending tens of thousands of pounds to Europe.
Yeah, I've got all the positivity to give. I mean, just to again peek behind the curtain for everyone. Simon, who runs our sales and marketing, and is one of the original founders of both festivals, he just texted me saying, "Do we really want to announce all of our bands in October?" It's like, is that definitely what we want to do? And my response was pretty much like, "Fuck you, mate. You always moaning at me because you haven't got the bands. I've got you the bands. Don't now be saying you don't want to announce them. We're announcing them. I've told everyone. I've already told everyone. It's happening. October the 24th. They're coming.
October 24th, that's the trees. You're getting the absolute mother of all announcements for trees on October 24th.
Yeah, yeah. So
Brace
that's
yourselves,
all I've been
people.
doing this week.
Brace yourselves, people. It is going to be a good one.
Yeah,
So, will we? Are we going to bash through some sort of more general question? We'll do a Kofi sub, do some more general questions, and then get into all that's great about ArcTangent.
yeah. Let's do it. Sounds good.
Okay. Well, our Kofi. Are we going with Kofi? I heard somebody else saying coffee, but it's
Well,
KO.
well, I do like it when you check pronunciations with me live on air. It's always good. Um, I mean, I'm assuming I don't know, it might be coffee, but what I think what I meant to say this to you actually before we came on, is we should tell people that that is spelled Kofi. So if you are Googling it and you would like to drop us a few pounds a month, Kofi, call it whatever you want. I think it's
K
probably,
K ko-fi.com/2 promoters one pod. That is the place where you can. It's basically a subscription service. You can send us a few quid a month to buy vinyl or have a tour war chest. And what we decided to do was take all the names, stick them in this damnation stein of luck, and draw a winner each week. Scott Walker, he dreamed big. He went for he asked for the damnation ticket, and we gave him the damnation ticket and a night of salvation ticket. So his £4 got him a £150 ticket to damnation. James does not seem so keen in the idea of giving away festival tickets.
Well, people always joke at trees that I'm. If, if anyone wants a yes to a question, they ask me. So during setup, they'll be like, "Can I camp there?" And Rob will be no. And then the last time, and he'll say no. And then they ask me, and I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." So basically, that's what you're doing. It's like you set a rule of no. You set a rule of no free festival tickets, and you've broken it. And now your new rule is only one person is allowed a free ticket.
Only one. Someone put. I wish I remembered the. I wish I remember how he put it. Basically, I've got like the sort of strain power of a Kit Kat. It's like fucking, and I don't even know why that's the case. I mean, I always feel like I'm quite a I mean Glaswegian, but my daughters like absolutely run riot with me. They never ever ask my wife a question as to be able to stay out to go to their friend's house. Can I have an extra Kit Kat? It's like no, go to dad. He'll definitely be the one that says yes. So tickets. The whole point of it, the entire point of people making a donation to it or the subscription to it is to support the podcast and support us as promoters. Giving away tickets on our side is completely counterproductive. So
Yeah,
I don't think that that's the way going forward. But Scott Walker was the first to ask, and I'm that kind of guy. I'm a yes man. So Scott, enjoy yourself. I hope it's the first of many damnations for you.
good work. Good work, Scott. Shall we? Oh yeah, let's pick a new one.
So this week, not for festival tickets, is Dan Hughes. Feel free to be as creative as you like, though, Dan, and maybe dip James's pockets in some way. See if James get a show in Bristol. If you live near Bristol, try and get in the guest list for some show that him and Miles are putting on.
Okay, lovely. Yeah. Sorry, Miles, we can do that.
Okay,
Okay.
questions.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Callum Reed says, I've seen a few festivals asking for folk to vote for them in the UK Festival Awards. I noticed that ATG and Trees are up for some of the awards, but no damnation. What are James's reasons for putting his festival forward for these? And why isn't damnation up for any of them? Um, well, look, it's a brilliant, in terms of promoting the festival to new people and to the music industry at large, the fact that 2000 Trees has won Best Medium-Sized Festival 2 out of the last 3 years. ArcTangent won Best Small Festival a few years back, and is now in the Medium Festival category as well. And just like legitimizing your festival, I think, and people having heard of it is fucking great. And to be honest, it felt really nice. Me, Rob, and Mitch went to the awards last year, and we got to go up on stage and pick up an award that said we're the best medium-sized festival, and that was a really nice, warm, fuzzy feeling we got from that. And we get to shout about it. It's all over my email signature, and it's in all our press releases and stuff. I think it's a cool thing. Which reminds me, Mitch told me, make sure you remind people to vote. So if you're a Trees or ATG goer, please go to the UK Festival Awards website and vote for us. We're in a few categories, including Best Medium Size Festival. It does make a difference. It is a vote-based award. So help us out. Thanks. Gav, what about you?
I'm glad you went first with that rare positivity about this before I absolutely shite all over it.
You're in the wrong month, aren't you? Is that what you're going to say? Surely that's a problem for you.
No, here my experience of these festival awards is a total fucking dog shit that don't mean anything. And not to say, I mean,
I
if
nearly
that's what
spat my water out then.
if that's worked well for your festivals, then fucking great. I'm actually glad to hear it. Mike's like, I think so. I was part of a huge awards presentation thing with the paper for the business awards in the west of Scotland, and it included like Rolls Royce and Glasgow Airport and companies doing fucking tens of millions in turnover each year. And it's all a fucking scam. It's all a scam. It's all unless the only awards in the world that I'd ever have any credit towards, like the Oscars, the Emmys, the Brits, the Mobos, anything that's like someone else is a panel of people that are selecting you, and then you're invited along, and there's no payment required. But the awards, and I don't know how the UK Festival Awards or any of these awards ceremonies go, but what I understand is you nominate yourself, and then they take your nomination, and then they sell you a table, which is the way that these business awards went, and then you show up at your £110 a head table, and then you sit down and ultimately it keeps someone somewhere in a job and a salary, and they hand out some awards. So, I'm not the biggest supporter of them. It sounds like you've had some good time with it. I mean, and I knew when I answered this question that you guys had won awards, so this isn't to stick the boot in at use. It's just a bit like Damnation we wouldn't nominate ourselves for the award, so I take it that's the first step that's came out. Maybe the month. Also, you're not. It's not even a valid entry. But I'm not the biggest supporter. Any. Was that a heavy? There was a heavy one as well, wasn't there? That died. A heavy
No, the Heavy
festival.
Music Awards still exists. Yeah.
I mean, there was one that was
The
so
thing,
ridiculous they did a heavy festival for like the top 5 heavy music festivals in the UK, and Damnation wasn't in it. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, even if you think Damnation's shit, it is one of the top 5 heavy music festivals in the UK.
yeah. I mean, I do take your point about awards and like the Oscars. Obviously, they watch all the films and you can't do that with festivals because you can't go to every festival. So the only way to do it is fan vote. And to be honest, that makes it, if you're the organizer, to have managed to get your fans to vote for you is fucking great. And so it's not a sham in the way that there's just someone choosing the best festival, even though they haven't been to them all. It's the
Yeah,
people that have been to the festivals voting. So, at the end of the day, I get your point, but please vote, everyone.
listen, if you,
Gav, I think you should go after this and vote for ArcTangent in 2003.
I'm
There you go.
happy to, but again, it's like it's band of the week, and you see, and that small band's up against Metallica and fucking Rage Against the Machine, and that small band wins because Metallica and Rage Against the Machine have obviously no fucking bothered their shut to deal with Metal Injection's band of the week, and the small bands have went and rallied all their fans. So, I'm sorry to be such a negative thing, but there's no point coming on and bullshitting about it.
No.
My experience of these awards is it generates a salary for someone, and that Damnation doesn't put themselves forward for it. So that's your answer, Callum.
Good.
Also, go vote for 2,000 Trees and ArcTangent. Malcolm Tam says, this doesn't seem to happen as much anymore, but do you think there's reasoning for festival bookers booking bands they know wouldn't work for a bill? Example, took 50 Cent in Reading 2004, Daphne and Celeste at Reading 2000.
Well, I'm glad you bring up those two examples, Malcolm, because I was at those two festivals. Uh, so Reading used to book a pop act in the daytime on the rock and metal day on the main stage, and it was for everyone to laugh at them. And I used my oh God, how old was I then? 22 or whatever. I used to think it was fucking hilarious to laugh at Daphne and Celeste. And I'm embarrassed. I actually, my older self now looks back at my younger self and thinks, what a fucking dickhead, stood in front of the main stage, shouting abuse at a couple of fucking 15-year-old girls up on stage doing their thing. I don't know what their agent was thinking, if they knew they were going to have the piss taken out of them, but Daphne and Celeste ended up getting taken off stage because there was so much stuff being thrown at them, which, considering they were probably 15 or 16 at the time, is awful.
Aye,
And I
bullshit.
don't know what the fuck, really, looking back at that, was going on.
Yeah.
But Reading used to have that pop thing, and it was supposed to be a joke. I don't think 50 Cent was a joke. I think they genuinely thought 50 Cent might work at Reading, and maybe if you now
Yeah,
look at the Reading lineups today,
it
it was
would.
just a precursor to where they were going.
When I was at the 50
Um,
Cent, I was at 50 Cent at the Leeds version of that one. So when you saw that at Reading, I saw it at Leeds, and there was cans and chairs and all sorts of shit getting chucked at the stage.
I mean, I threw a Scotch egg at Daphne and Celeste. I'm prepared to put my hand up and admit it, and I am not proud of that.
A
I'm
Scotch
really
egg is
not. I'm truly not proud of it.
you're
Um,
a fucking nugget, by the way.
so, but in terms of outside the box bookings, I love them at my festivals, and it's something I'd like to do more of. So we had Thumposaurus at Trees this year, which I think isn't naturally a Trees natural booking, and it went amazingly. ATG, there was a bunch, really. If you think about, I mean, Gav would say to you, there's no such thing as an ATG band. Therefore, if that's true, there's no such thing as an outside the box booking. But I think like Confederation, the techno band, Toki Horror, even Blood Command, they're just something totally different. And so I'm all for those sort of bookings, as long as it's not to laugh at people. Like the whole Daphne and Celeste thing does not stand up in 2024. It's fucking, let's not laugh at people that are trying to make a career out of
No,
music.
no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was weird to. I wasn't there. I didn't see the Daphne and Celestia, and I probably wouldn't have thrown a Scotch egg at them either. But the 50 Cent one, I was a wee bit annoyed because I was a bit quite like 50 Cent, and I did want to see that set. And I just felt, okay, again, this is when you come into these things from different angles. You grew up, and it was like what you were saying, it was like a metal or rock background. It was your school, and people were in tribes. I was never part of any of that. So when I came down and I saw, like, even the way metal fans dressed, and also still to this day, with metal, the way often metal fans dress with a fucking battle vest and stuff, I just don't identify with it at all. So when I went to something like Leeds and Reading, I didn't identify with like this belongs to us and 50 Cent doesn't belong here and let's fucking boom off the stage and fuck amateur. I was like, I want to hear in the club. I want to bounce about the back to fucking in the club. So I feel that some of that Leeds and Reading have so far removed for those lineups now anyway that you're not expecting to see System of a Down and Boy Hits Car and Fear Factory on the main stage. That they can book all those. There's no like these Daphne and Celeste and 50 Cent could probably drop onto those bills now pretty easily, and it wouldn't even cause a stir. So
I would book Daphne and Celeste for Trees, by the way. I'm
and
pretty sure they came back at
and
Alco Pop.
apologise.
I would look. I would apologise 100%. I think it's okay to hold your hand up.
It is. It is. So I'm trying to think of what any bills that are still out there. I mean, Glastonbury's doing it. I mean, the barriers have just in the last 10 years, those walls and barriers have just like completely changed. What was the one that Glastonbury booked that everyone was fucking up? Now was it Jay-Z? Was the first hip hop artist to,
Yeah, I was actually there for that as well. I've only been to Glastonbury twice, but
and it was such a big fucking thing. I mean, Oasis were like chipping in me like, oh, this isn't for that. All that shit's past. That whole if fucking had a hip hop artist or fucking Daphne Sliss, whatever in Glasgow, that's just accepted. That's just fucking broaden your horizons. Know what I mean?
do you think ever at Damnation that do you ever think I want to, because there's lots of like fun heavy stuff out there. I don't know if you might include Party Cannon or something like that in this, but do you ever think, I mean, like Blood, what's that crab fucking band called that play Evil Scarecrow?
But no, so right, just before their manager is an avid listener to this podcast, so
Be careful.
to not be
Be
sticking a
careful.
knife in poor evil scarecrow.
Well, why haven't you booked him for Damnation, Gav? Come on.
To be fair, I had a conversation. I believe her name's Jen, and I think there's an understanding of some of the bands. I don't. No, we will book fun bands. Party Cannon are a fun band, and it's slam death metal, but they're out there with blow up dolphins and beach balls. Insanity Alert are the definition of fun band. If you're there in time for Night of Salvation this year, they'll be doing covers are Run to the Hills, but it's Run to the Mosh Pit, and they'll be dressed in Hawaiian shirts and probably have fucking Pikachu on stage with them. So it's not just about, oh, this is dead serious and pole faced. We will do that. Evil Scarecrow's a wee bit different because I think the whole thing is like Party Cannon's a fun twist on death metal, and Sanity Alert's a fun twist on thrash metal. Evil Scarecrow, the gimmick is they're the gimmick. You know what I mean? It's like the Crabaton and that, and they do it fucking fantastically, and they pull huge crowds, and they play at well-established festivals like Vakin and Bloodstock regularly, and pull huge crowds. It's not like they're more popular. They sell more tickets for Damnation than a lot of the bands that we book, but there's no demand. This isn't about me. There's no real demand. You don't go to Damnation Forum and see people saying, "Oh, book Evil Scarecrow" or bands of that ilk. They sort of almost comedy metal, and that's the reason why if there was a big call for it, I would be more open to the ideas of booking bands like that. But the bands that just don't fit Damnation, like power metal, pop punk, that kind of stuff. If you're even talking about the realms of where metal and hardcore and that kind of stuff sits, pop punk and power metal are the things that really just there's no demand for it. Damnation. If you do that, then you're just starting to wander into the realms of slam dunk and bloodstock and these kind of events.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Damien Norris says, you both had previous careers, so what was your favourite moment and or greatest achievement in those jobs?
Fuck me, that's a deep one. I mean, yeah, but I'm sure there's not much happening with accountancy. Your greatest moment was getting out of it.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, I hated my job from very early on. So I think the greatest bit was like the achievement of actually getting the job, which was like I worked for a company called PwC. It's the biggest firm of accountants in the world. There's like a couple 100,000 employees. They're fucking massive. It was hard to get. It was a huge, like everyone, all my family were proud of me type job. And I remember walking around their offices in London, which was like a massive multi-story skyscraper type building, just full of glass. And I remember just walking around for about 3 weeks, being like, "Fuck me!" It's like you're in a film or something. That's like you're in your suit, just like wandering around the offices, being like, "Whoa!" But as soon as they started actually wanting me to do some actual work, I was like, "Fuck, I hate this." So I think the high point was that just initial rush. I'm like, if I wanted to get cheesy, I'm super proud of the fact that I passed those exams. They're like some of the hardest exams that exist, the chartered accountants exams. And that took 3 years and was a real achievement, which is now looking back totally fucking pointless waste of stress. But
You don't
um,
even do the accountancy for your festivals.
no, I don't. Yeah, I don't have many high points. That's mine. How about you? You must have loads, don't you?
Oh fuck! I don't know. It's funny how cheesy do I want to get? I mean, this is a
Go
fucking.
cheesy, cheese me. Come on.
This is a podcast in itself. No, I mean, I came on to have a laugh. Not anyway. So, I mean, I went to two shitty schools and I wasn't academic. So, when I suggested to my English teacher that I wanted to be a journalist, she took me aside and laughed at me. I mean, in a genuine like, my school was, if you can attain employment by the time you come out the other side, if you're not in jail dead or a fucking heroin addict, then you'll get employment and you'll be seen as a success to your family. So when I mentioned journalism, I was fucking laughed at. So getting good, being determined enough without being any sort of fucking brainiac or academic to get into journalism, and then by the age of 36 be a newspaper editor, a daily newspaper was quite an achievement. And it's a weird one because in my family and my surroundings, it's not so like there was no fucking streamers and balloons for me. It's a bit like, why don't you have a real job, Gavin? It was like it was so far fetched for me to get into something like journalism that I don't think my family ever really got truly in tune with it. I fell into some fucking job when I was doing a typey thing and something called a keyboard. So that was that was that. And then in the later years, I mean, I fucking loved that job. I absolutely loved that job. But there was one thing that stands out in the later years where there was 11 people who died over the weekend and the patch that we covered, and we'd get information. It was this fake Valium at Islam, but it'd been mixed with cement, and they were taking it with our stuff, right? So 11 people had died, including a young couple, and our reporters had went out and they'd got this information all together. And we'd basically been told, look, this is a fucking drugs death. We were told off the record by a drugs charity. We were told off the record by family members. We, all these people had taken it. But the thing is with Police Scotland and everyone, the local authority, it's all about perception. No one likes to start any panic. It doesn't even matter if it's fucking factually true. People just want to keep everything under the fucking carpet. And I decided to go with the story that there was cement in these fucking drugs and it had been linked to these 11 deaths. And the shit that we got for months and months, I mean, like fucking pure hatred for the families. What saying, oh, you said that my fucking cousin took the drugs. They did take the drugs, and that was, I mean, Police Scotland were trying to fucking sue. I mean, we get fucking terrorised for months. But the truth was, it was true. It was
Were
fact.
you the editor? Were you the
I was
editor
the
at this
editor. It was
point?
my decision to go with it. And this and another story. There was two times we had another story. I'm not going to get into a whole journalism podcast. It was another story about a lawyer who was sleeping with an inmate, and we found out, and she was getting sacked for her job, and we were reporting that she was getting sacked for her job because of this reason. And it was another the biggest title in Scotland also that we worked with chose not to run it because they couldn't stand it up properly. We had, in fact, from the fucking lawyer admitting to us it was happening. But ultimately, when you go to court, you need to be able to prove that that conversation took place, which we couldn't do. And I took the decision as editor to go with that story, and they took the decision not to go with the story. And we had that front page the next day, and it was a fucking screaming success. And it showed me as editor, like, look, not only can you do this, but you've got the fucking balls to do it and take the decisions that an editor on fucking 200 grand a year or something is not making these decisions. But back to the first story, that those drugs death, I'll never know. I'll never know, Zed, did that save somebody else taking any of the blue pills that next weekend? Was there one single death that didn't happen in Remshire because we ran that story when other people didn't want to know the flack we took afterwards? And I'm particularly proud of that, despite the fact that all it led to was 3 or 4 months of utter abuse and getting called a scumbag and a parasite and fucking pond life and having to fight with Police Scotland and losing contacts. It was just more important to do the fucking job right than just make pals with it. So, aye. I didn't know this was taking this direction.
Wow, that's
Podcast.
good. That's interesting, mate. That's a great story.
Damien Morris, thank you for fucking deep diving with that. Let's hope the next one's a wee bit fucking anyway. Christopher Kelly, with Emily Armstrong joining Linkin Park, what band member replacement do you think worked out the best for everyone, and which one was a complete disaster? For my money, Angela Gosso joining Arch Enemy was the worst. Oh, was the best, and the worst was Buckethead joining Guns N' Roses. This is a proper James Scarlett question.
Yes, mate. I did wonder whether you'd have done your prep to come up with an answer for this, or you're going to wing it. I know you love winging these hard questions. This actually is quite easy to answer, I think. The worst by a fucking country mile is Blaze Bayley in Iron Maiden. I revisited recently. I think I said on a previous podcast, I revisited the whole Iron Maiden discography, and those Blaze Bayley albums are truly terrible. And what is remarkable is that he was never qualified to be an Iron Maiden purely for the reason that he cannot do those vocals. So it's like getting me to try and pretend to be Bruce Dickinson. It's fucking
So talk
shocking.
me. I don't know. I have no idea what this is. So what happened? They had the original side of some Diamo, and then was it Dickinson, and then some other
Yeah,
guy in the
so
back
yeah,
Dixon.
so yeah, so Dickinson took over, and he's a fair shout for the best replacement. He's not going to be my one that I choose, but he took over on album three, was it? Or album two or three? Shit, bad Iron Maiden knowledge. And then at some point in the 90s, he left. Blaze Bayley joined and did two albums with them. I think it's X Factor and Virtual 11. The albums are dog shit. Even a couple of times when there's half decent songs, they are ruined by this guy who was in a reasonable band, Wolfsbane, previously, but he's way beyond he just cannot sing it. He can't sing it. You know that like sort of soaring operatic vocal that Dickinson does?
Yeah.
He cannot do it. It's fucking terrible. It's worth going and listening to one
So,
song off those albums just to see how bad it is.
and in
And
context, well, Iron Maiden, I assume by this point are already the band we know they're massive. Iron Maiden are
yeah,
massive. So this
yeah,
guy
yeah.
just gets dropped in from another band, and he's now the singer of Iron Maiden.
Yeah, and if you look at the size venues they played over that period, their whole career took a hit before Bruce came back. And those albums after Bruce came back were really critically acclaimed, like Dance with Death and can't remember what the other one's called. But yeah, so it was a real dip in their career. But the mad thing is, Steve Harris, the bassist and leader of the band, is like such a control freak. And at some point, he has convinced himself that this guy's good enough to be an Iron Maiden. It's just wild. It's just like asking me to do it. I can't do it. So it's fucking terrible. The best one ever is this is controversial. Some people say this is bollocks, but Brian Johnson replaced Bon Scott in AC/DC. Now, the next album that they released was Back in Black, right? And one of my favorite rock facts, I do like rock facts. One of my favorite rock facts is that the second biggest selling album of all time is Back in Black by AC/DC. It sold 50 million, right?
Okay.
He replaced Bon Scott, and you're thinking, what the fuck? How's this going to go? And they released the second biggest selling album of all time. Do you want to guess what the number one selling album of all time is?
Did you see Pink Floyd
No,
included in
we're
rock?
not talking about rock. We're not talking about rock albums. We're talking about album anything. So AC/DC is the number two best-selling album ever, including like.
Is it Jagged Little Pill? Bill, I just want to say.
No, but I bet that's in the top 100. No, it's Thriller by Michael Jackson. It's done like 70 million. But so just before I came on, I thought to myself, I don't know what number three is, so I'm going to go and Google it. And it's the fucking Bodyguard soundtrack, Whitney Houston.
There you go.
Wow.
There you
Wow.
go.
So there you go. That's my rock fact for the week.
Oh man, you know what? I read this question. I said James is going to have such a fucking well drafted, long winded answer with probably fucking sideshow diatribes that
I love shit like this.
I couldn't even think of examples one way or the other. I honestly was looking like, who the fuck do I care about this? I mean, I'm thinking, right, okay, so my favourite band, like Nine Inch Nails, Tool, Deftones, none of them are applicable. Like stuff like where you get these like Iron Maidens and I don't care. But I can't think of one in either direction. If you get any like notable shout outs that you can say for me in my behalf?
Well, mate, you could have. I mean, Nine Inch Nails is a revolving door, isn't it? So you could have chosen
I
a
feel like you'd
number
be
of people.
cheap with that though.
Deftones. Old what's his name? Captain Flat Earth doesn't tour in the Deftones anymore, does he? So they've actually got for anything outside the States, they've got another guitarist now. But yeah, no, I'm not going to save you.
No, okay. Okay. Those questions, listen, we can answer those questions, but they're going to definitely be for fucking Stattle. The thing is, as well, there's a very much two geeks on a podcast. I'm like, there's not two geeks. You're a geek, right? I'm just a fucking music fan, a metal fan,
I'm
right?
fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm
I
totally fine
know.
with
You
that.
fucking self-proclaimed that you'd wear the geek badge. So,
Mate, mate,
aye.
you'll be walking down the street later on, stopping people, saying to them, "Do you know what the second biggest selling album of all time is?" No one ever gets it right. Okay, last question. Stephen Payne says, "I'd like to know if you are wanting to hear an album yet to be released, can you or do you reach out to ask for an advance copy to listen to?"
Yeah. It's, I am
What
not.
was the album recently that you said you'd been listening to in someone's car?
Oh, that's
Pine.
right. Zealand
Was it
Ardor.
Pine? Oh
Zealand
no,
Ardor.
yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I am. That sounds terrible, but I'm not. I don't get. I'm quite happy to wait. I'm quite happy to wait for it to come. Now I've done this. This episode will be my love letter to We Lost to Sea. If you don't watch on YouTube, I've got my signed fucking the Departure Songs poster behind me. I've got my We Lost to Sea t-shirt on. I'm about to wax lyrical about We Lost to Sea when we get to ArcTangent. That's the level of band you need to be before I'm going to be like, oh, let me hear what you're up to. So I have heard like the next or big chunks of the next We Lost to Sea album. It'll probably release some point next year. But then even with that, I'm a bit like, should I just have waited? When I've got it and it's all the way it's supposed to be and sound exactly the way it's supposed to be and it's all been mastered and in the order it's presented. You love it, but then you're a bit like it's like trying to find out a spoiler, I think, for a fucking film or a TV show, and like you're interested. As soon as you hear it, you're like, I wish I'd just saw that at the time. So yes, I do hear albums in advance. I'm often you'll get bands that are, especially if they want to go on a lineup, will say, "Oh, do you want to hear this?" And I will listen to them, and I'm happy to listen to them. But it's no, I don't go out my way. It certainly doesn't influence bookings in the sense of if you're a bigger band and I'm about, oh, the Literally Wizard album's released next year, I'm going to try and get a copy for the label, and then I'll decide where I'm going to book the band. That doesn't happen at all.
Yeah, I mean, my answer is similar to you in that it's not how I listen to music either. I've got this kind of thing where I want to buy it on vinyl and then I listen to it mostly on Spotify. And um, so I'm not that bothered about getting advance copies. The only two that stick out in the mind is that The Ocean sent me their last album, which I'd one listened to and I loved, so I kept going back to. And the booking agent for Empire State Bastard sent me that. And I felt so privileged to be one of the first people getting that album that I listen to it a lot. But mostly when people send me advanced copies, I have one very quick listen to be polite, and then I don't really go back to it until it's actually released.
Yeah,
Um, but Hayden, who is not, as we know, is our booking agent, I have asked him a couple of times for advance copies, and he never sends it to me. So I'd
mate.
like to bring that up now because I asked him for the last Cult of Luna album, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll see what I can do," and it never
Hayden
materialized.
Hayden doesn't like to send you advanced music, anyone. He doesn't like to tell you, like, so you're sitting, what happens if you're in an industry room backstage and you're chatting, people will just openly talk like professionals between each other about, oh, I booked that band and I done this with this and they're going to be playing next year. Hayden is not that guy. Hayden will sit in front of you tight-lipped and you'll be talking about a band literally between three other people and he'll pretend he doesn't know anything about it. You might say that's the most professional manner ever because he keeps everything so fucking under wraps. So you might be like, right, come on, Hayden, play the game a wee bit. So it's aye, that's a percent, but he does not. And if he does send you a track a day in advance, it's very much like this is for your ears only. This is for your ears only. Like, what the fuck am I going to send it to? Shouting at my wife and daughter, come and listen to some Julie Christmas.
Because you're in. If you're the agent and you sent someone the new Cult of Luna album, and then it leaks,
Oh, aye,
and it comes back and it's gone, and because they watermark these things. So if I leaked it, they would know it was me that had leaked it.
yeah.
And then and then he's in big shit, and he could lose the band. So I understand the reticence to share too much, but realistically, there are some people you can trust, right?
Yeah, I mean
And
that
we're
happens
two
to
of
me
those people.
from the background as well. I used to have albums. I used to review music way back, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. So I'd always like Noel Gallagher's new album. I'd have it a couple of months before Noel Gallagher released it. So that's maybe a part of it as well. There's no novelty value to it. Like if you've been sent Coldplay's new album before it was released, it's a bit like. You just kind of get used to it. But I do like it when it's all packing. Everyone else is talking about because again, I am not that guy either. I suppose we're doing this right now, but I'm not that guy. If we're on the forum and in conversation that tells you, oh, Do you know who downloads headliners the next week? Oh, have you heard that new album by Deftones or whatever? I'm like, I know that guy. It's like, if I know that other people haven't heard that, I'm not going to start a conversation about it to show that I have.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
Lose fucking Bruges, right? So, comes out the fucking woodwork this week for
Oh,
his other side projects that he does and prioritises over our podcast and festivals and says, oh, I'll tell you what we'll do this week, Gav. We'll do 20% off, right? 20% off your sauces. Code to use one time per customer for 1 week, right? So take this code, get your 20% off, fill your boots, get all the sauces that are out there, Harriet, honey banana, whatever he's got left of his almost famous and all the favourites we'll be talking about for 7 months. Then he says the code is Curly Wurly, right? So I was busy with something at the time when he said, so I never even paid attention for it. That's fucking odd, but anyway. And then just as I was coming on, I was writing the code. He said that code because he knows that I'll read it. He knows that I'll read it. And Scottish people don't really Curly Wurly as in the sweet. You see it?
that is incredible. Curly whirly. Incredible. Please, everyone should go to his website now just for that alone.
To be clear, Curly Wurly, as in the confectionery, the chocolate sweet with caramel in the middle. Curly, Curly Wurly. Whatever you think you're hearing now in your ears that I'm saying, it is not that, okay? So he's fucking at it. And he dropped that one.
He is.
I never get a chance to like go back and say you're a fucking prick. I was like, unless this is all innocent and it's a coincidence and it has got something to do with a new sauce that's coming out, but I can almost guarantee it's because he knew that I would read that and I would fucking struggle with, or people would struggle to understand what I was saying. So, no pod 15 this week. Use Curly Wurly, all one word, get 20% off. You're making a loss laughing.
Keeps it. What was it again?
Fuck off. Fuck off 15. Tell me about ArcTangent, mate. What a first announcement. Talk me through it.
Thanks, mate. Do you want the full list or not? Do we need the full list?
No, people can go and see it, but let's get a flavour of the top 10.
I mean, Karnivool, Melvins, Rolo Tomassi, Between the Buried and Me, We Lost the Sea, Paula Troy, June, Adebisi Shank, and about 1,000 others. I mean, I've been saying for a while that it's like an ATG Geeks lineup, and what I mean by that is that there's some very specialist bookings in there for, full album sets and reformations and stuff, and bands that not everyone has necessarily heard of. So, I mean, I think it feels pretty exciting. The highlights are Adebisi Shank have got back together for ArcTangent. Vessels have got back together for ArcTangent. Kylesa are back together and are playing ATG first UK show back. So those are like special things. We'll talk a bit more about how they came about later, but there's been a bunch of people being like, I didn't think I was ever going to see those bands again. So that's super exciting. Also albums in full. So Between the Buried and Me playing Colours. We Lost the Sea. Thanks, Gav, for making that happen. I think the band have put you on a commission for that.
We could have had a conversation, but let's just go right here. Pats in the back all round. How responsible was I from like 99% to 100% of We Lost the Sea playing ArcTangent?
Well, We Lost the Sea playing Departure songs in full. You were a very high percentage of that. Because you basically were saying to me, stop fucking. I think you probably said it on the podcast, but you also said it a few times in WhatsApp messages. Stop fucking about. Get them to do this.
Because you're not a two-set guy, so that's probably going to come up in some of the questions of why you suddenly a two-set guy. But for the two sets with them, you've got departure songs, and then you've got the hit set. So was that I'm joking about the pat in the back. Obviously, you knew who We Lost to Sea well, and you would have had them before. But the two sets as well, was that the product of this podcast and the pressure being put on you to get those guys back twice?
Yeah, it was to a certain extent. And but to be honest, I am like, well, this is kind of preempting. In fact, let's just quickly read the question.
Okay.
because I feel like have I made my life difficult? I probably have, haven't I? So no, fuck it. We'll come to the question later. But basically, my feeling on albums in full is you're in danger of kind of missing some of the fan base. So that's why those bands are playing twice. So We Lost the Sea, they've got, I think they're going to have new music out. I'm not entirely sure that's true or not, but they've got obviously a bunch of other songs. Same with Between the Buried and Me. So I didn't want to like corner us and like be like, here's an album, and then people are like, oh, for fuck's sake, I didn't want to hear that album. So they're
Yeah,
playing twice, basically.
yeah.
But look, you do take the credit because you pushed me and you convinced me. You know, Australia's a long way away. We're paying them a nice fee, I think, and between you and the agent, you convinced me that I needed to find some more money down the back of the couch.
Wonderful, wonderful, and it's going to be honestly the amount of great bands that you put out yesterday and the different. I love that announcement you put the bands and you get the ones that are the total excitement on Between the Buried and Me, and then the total excitement on Vessel's been back, and then the total excitement. Oh, We Lost the Scene, and I saw even in their thread there was a lot of people on their own personal thread. A lot of people who are going to be making the trip to the UK to see We Lost the Sea at ArcTangent. ArcTangent had probably been in their radar. They probably liked the lineups. And it's like, I'll pull the trigger. I'm going to see departure songs, plus the hits. I'm never fucking flying to Australia. When do you ever get We Lost the Sea across here? So that's going to be brilliant. And I don't know if you've seen it yet in the ArcTangent forum, but some poor guy just wants to get his band booked in the bill, and he says, how do you get your band booked for ArcTangent? And Mark for We Lost the Sea says, what you do is you write you write one of Gav's favourite albums, you play his metal festival, you get really fucking drunk with him, and then that's how you do it. So aye,
Easy.
if you have it in the tank to go and write departure songs, then have at it, 'cause I'm looking forward to hearing it, and I will do my level best to get you on ArcTangent.
Amazing. Okay, so other highlights, which I like Melvins. I've never played ArcTangent before, so that's a massive one. We've been talking to them for years, and people were very excited, and I think quite surprised as well. Karnivool headlining, never played ArcTangent before. Rolo Tomassi are doing like 20th anniversary set, so that's gonna, I think, will feature probably some deep cuts and some hits and stuff. I don't know exactly what they're going to play. I don't know if they know yet. I mean, overall, when you sort of bunch all that together, and there's a bunch of other stuff that people like Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum. Like, I really wasn't sure what people were going to think about that, but there's been people like, holy shit, I
That's
cannot
the
believe.
band. That is
Yeah,
that,
they've
like for
never been.
them.
Apparently, it's their first ever UK show. I didn't even know that, so it's like fucking great.
Where are they from?
I want to say America. I'm not sure. Yeah, America.
So is this one of the ones where you're just like, I fucking love this album, and I'm going to go and chase this band and get them over here?
Yeah, I really like the agent. He's a super good guy, and I really like the album. So it's like he was like, "This is the money that it would need to make."
Is it an agent you can see?
Yeah, John Niblock from
Do you know what? The
Atonal.
reason I fucking asked is I knew it would be him. I fucking knew it would be him,
Is he?
right?
He's
So
Glas. Is he a Glaswegian?
he's a Glaswegian, right? He's a Glaswegian, but
Yeah.
that whole agency for some reason is a fucking blind spot with Damnation. And so I get really into a band called Crippling Alcoholism. Have you heard them yet?
No.
They're fucking stunning. It's like Ulver and Chat Pile trying to do Daughters. I mean,
Wow.
it's fucking. I'm annoyed. I'm telling you about it because the reason it's going to happen, they're going to fucking show up at Art Tangent now. So I got in touch. I looked to see if they had an agent. No agent. So I was like, okay, I'm fucking loving this album. So I'm going to just contact the band directly and say, listen, if you ever have any plans for the UK, Damnation would host you, right? So they get back in touch. Oh, fucking class. We've heard great things about Damnation. Let's see if we can make something happen. Then I get a random text message for John Niblock. Hello, friend. like, fucking. I hear you've been talking to crippling alcoholism. I'm like, oh, come on. So I get back to him and says, don't start your shite. Do not be fucking offering this up in a platter to James, right? Like all your other fucking great bands, like Frail Body and fucking Sleepy Time Gorilla. Like, if this band appear, I'm going to take, like, they might not even sell a single ticket for either festival. I'm going to take this one personally, okay?
Okay.
I was chasing crippling alcoholism first. So when you said that, because he does have, I even said to him, like, you need to fucking start sharing your roster with us. You know what I mean? It's like, fucking, you don't want to play like 6,000 capacity rooms. That means, let's say, Aye. Just when you say that, see if it fucking happens to be John Niblock again.
Well, I've been joking with so Liam, who runs a tonal, the agency. I've been joking with him that this lineup that we've just released is a tonal tangent. Really, it's basically like, they do Rolo Tomassi, they do Between the Buried and Me. They do Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum, Sugar Horse. I mean, KO Dot. I could go on and on. As Living Arrows. It's Burner. I mean, it's basically all them. So, um, yeah, a lot of them listen to this podcast. So let's get some bands on Damnation. Tyler, is at a tonal, and
He is,
he
but
gives you bands, and he's there every year
I know,
partnering.
but that's that's how you get a relationship with Otono. It's like you need to have a Labour candidate you're friendly with. He switched to the Tories to get in the back door. That's what Tyler was. You know what I mean? He was my Labour candidate, and he fucking joined the Tories when he came in through the back door. So I still know Tyler, but it's not like I don't know Liam or fucking my fellow Glaswegian fucking John. It's just you're like, where's Frail Body? Where's Frail Body for us? You know what I mean? Fucking love Frail Body. So, aye, maybe after this podcast we'll maybe get some recognition from the Tonal guys and aye, if I don't know if I've just fucking let out some industry secrets here, but if crippling alcoholism ends up with that roster, it's for damnation, people. Okay, let's be serious.
Yes, absolutely. I will. I promise not to try and book them unless John really twists my arm.
Uh,
Um,
and also,
so
just because we're talking about this lineup, Melvins. Now, Melvins are firstly a fantastic booking, but two questions with Melvins. Firstly, a lot of people would have seen them as a headliner for for ArcTangent, and people did mention like, "Fuck it, Melvins underneath Karnivool." I know there's a perception thing with that. Karnivool were a big band, sell a lot of tickets, but were they ever considered as a headliner? Question one. And you mentioned previously, Pod, you had an idea of trying to help Melvins work over 3 days. Question two, did that ever go anywhere?
so at the end of the day, how do we choose who is at the headlining on any given day, and then who's the second band and who's the third band? It's not like we're choosing it. Anyone who's listened to this podcast probably, or a lot of you will remember from billing, it's basically like how many tickets can they sell, right? How many tickets can Karnivool do? I saw Karnivool sell out the O2 Academy in Bristol this year or last year. So that's the baseline, right? That is clearly an ArcTangent headliner sized band. That's where Mastodon and Opeth would play. They would also sell it out. You know, Melvins are a big band, and Melvins would probably work as a Thursday headliner at ArcTangent. And to be honest, we haven't finished the booking yet. I only have one headliner confirmed, so who knows where this all eventually ends up.
Yeah,
But no, I mean, are Melvins bigger than Carnival? Absolutely not. And
yeah.
that's why the poster looks like it does. So yeah, I saw a bunch of people get really offended, don't they? Because they're like, they're my favorite band. What the fuck have you put them above my favorite band for? It's like, well, it's not about the Melvins, but
I've
your
never
favorite
heard
band
the
needs to sell some
Carnival.
more tickets.
I've never heard the Carnival and Melvin was my favourite band. How could you possibly this? And you're right. And like, they're not saying that that's not true. Maybe you've never heard of Carnival. I only really know of Carnival exists because I was dragged to see them at Download with the guys from Radar, who are also big fans of Carnival. I think you might have been there at the same time, and we
Yeah,
watched Carnival at that stage, and they were very
yeah,
good. Very that proggy leprous style music, if I remember correctly. So
yeah,
aye, good. And if I get 200 tickets regionally under their belts, that is a big ass band. And if you've got Melvins touring, and I'm no Melvins expert, but if they're playing 800 cap regionally and even serving them out, good for them. That makes them a big ass band too, and a legacy band, and a legendary band. But you, Melvins are one of those bands, if you get two big headliners and ticket sales were great, Melvins could just slot into a headline slot and no one would question it. Like a Cult
no,
Owner. You'd be like,
yeah.
Cult Owner don't sell out the O2 Academy in Bristol, but people know what they are and the scene and respect it. And you're like, okay, that works for me.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's if you think about it, like Baroness were third from top at ArcTangent last year. Um, Clowncore can sell out the Forum in London, 2,400 people, second from top. Yeah, so oh yeah, Electric Wizard, second from top. So it's like, I don't know. It depends who the headliners end up being. Some years the headliners will be bigger bands than other years, so we'll see. We'll see where the lineup goes. The other thing that came back from the feedback, there's quite a few people writing, it's nice to see colours spelt correctly, and I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. And then it suddenly the penny dropped that the album Colours that Between the Buried and Me are playing in full is spelt in the
American.
American spelling, and I've spelt it on the poster in the English spelling or
Yeah.
or the way it's fucking spelt, right?
Yeah.
Um, and but that's actually wrong, isn't it? I've typoed our poster without even realizing it.
Yeah. You need to be, with American band titles, you need to be, spot those ones. The,
Yeah,
that's going to be great. That's going to be great. I don't know, like, and you're talking about like the geekiness you're saying about like that, the album sets. I've got a friend, Joe. I don't know if I'm not sure if he listens to this podcast or not. He is saying this might be his first ArcTangent because between the Buried and Me doing colours and the Fall of Troy doing Doppelgänger, it's like if that's the only place that they're going to be playing them in the UK, that he needs to see them. So he'll
yeah,
become that. And he's a cosmic void, celestial darkness, fortress fan. He's a guy that travels to fucking Finland to sit in some dungeon watching some guy with spikes and corpse paint. So aye, if you're doing those kind of announcements that are hitting those targets where you're getting people like, oh fuck, I need to see Kylesa. Oh fuck, I need to see Between the Buried and Me doing colours. Melvins, I need to go see Melvins. Then that's when you're dragging in the new fans, that's fucking job done.
yeah. And this is the thing about the like, yeah, to the core ArcTangent people that come already, you just want to put a solid lineup together and they're going to love it. And I'm part of a WhatsApp group. Our crew have got a WhatsApp group, and I was very much enjoying the chat on the WhatsApp group yesterday because they're the ArcTangent hardcore, and they fucking were really excited about the lineup. But also, you're trying to pull in new people, and it's like, yeah, well, that guy is tell him to buy his ticket because
Yeah. And
we're
so far, so
always
good. Did you see the spike yesterday that you were hoping for with the first?
yeah. I mean, it's weird because the ticket sales have been so good, so we're already ahead, miles ahead of where we were last year, which was our best ever year. So yeah, there was a spike yesterday, but it feels like we're we're ahead. I said to Si this morning, Si and Rob, I mean, there's only good news at the moment. We are ahead of our best ever year in terms of sales, well on course to sell out. So yeah,
Brilliant. And
feeling super good.
in terms of the next, I know we're going to go into the fan related questions to this
Yeah.
lineup, so I don't want to, I'm trying to dodge the bits we're coming up. But headliners, how are you getting on with because you obviously get two to go. How are you getting on with that?
Well, one of them that I was in for, one of the A list that are like they get an offer every year, have just come back and said no. Um, so back to the drawing board on that. I think I try to concentrate on trees and ATG separately as much as I can because I find it very weird to book them both on the same day or even in the same week. So I
Yeah,
spent with the I've had this ArcTangent lineup locked in for a couple of weeks now, and I stopped booking ATG and I've been on trees pretty much. There's so many offers have gone out for trees in the last 2 weeks, and now I'm going to go back to ATG. So probably next week will be let's get some let's go and approach some bands. Start, maybe go back to a few that had previously said they weren't on tour and talk about some fly-ins and stuff, and we'll see
yeah.
where we get to.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
having a quick scan of the questions to come. I don't think that Clowncore are mentioned, but they were mentioned on the group. So that is obviously a big one for a lot of folk. What's the situation there? Because they're selling their toilet.
Yeah, I mean the toilet is on sale for like $1,999, I think. But no, they're still a band as far as I know, and I'm waiting to hear if they're going to be at ArcTangent next year. If they'd already confirmed, you would have heard about it yesterday. One band did confirm yesterday, which is really fucking annoying. Like as the poster went out, you get an email from the agent, like, oh yeah. So it's like, mate, I've been fucking chasing you. Could you not have just hit the deadline and then they'd be on the poster? But yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's not Clowncore. So yeah, we'll we'll see on them.
It's
I don't
a
know.
work in progress. You don't know. You don't know what the
Yeah,
situation is with them.
yeah.
Okay. I didn't
Because it
know.
was health related, right? It was health related. So I'm
Yeah,
actually pushing way less hard than I would normally because I don't know anything about his health. So yeah.
yeah. Well, that makes sense. Okay, let's hear what the Art Tangent fans and the podcast listeners have got to ask.
Okay, well, this is a good question, which I thought you were going to ask me to take out, but you haven't. So Adam Robertshaw asks, which of these bands did you try to book for Damnation 25, only to find out from their booking agent that James had got them for ATG? So you've mentioned that a few times on the podcast, me getting too metal.
Well,
You don't have to answer it.
You know what? You know what? With the band that's too metal, you haven't announced yet. So either we can talk about this off the podcast, either that deal is falling through, or it was still just in the works and the band think it's confirmed, but you are under the pressure. Now. I mean, they're a very metal band who, so
Is it two words?
it's three.
Oh no, I don't know who you're talking about.
Okay, okay. So, aye, that weirdly, that's not. I came onto this podcast to have a laugh, James. I don't want to fucking fight
I
with
I
everybody.
don't I don't actually know who you're talking about, and I suspect I haven't confirmed that band.
Right, okay. Well,
Whatever
that's
whoever you're
and
thinking
that's
about.
odd because I was told previously, which is fine. I mean, it's one of those ones that just I put the fishing net out for this guy's roster, and he came back and said one of those bands were on ArcTangent. I was like, fuck me, man, it's very on the nose metal. But again, is there such a thing as an ArcTangent band? And they would definitely still work at ArcTangent. The reason that I thought you were actually trying to stick the oar in with this is Kylesa, is why I thought you were a bit like. Now, we were offered Kylesa under the guise of Kylesa were actively trying to play Damnation, that they wanted to play Damnation. We were told a fee. We agreed the fee. We agreed the conditions. Uh, all went quiet. And then James paid 50% more than my highest offer. And that was that. So ultimately, James did end up with Kylesa and we didn't. I wouldn't have paid any more than the offer that I made. I know what James is paying, and it's a bit like fair enough. That's just one of those ones somebody was wanting to dig deeper into their pocket. Now we weren't even. There was no discussion of Art Tangent are going to pay this. Will you meet us there? It was just a case it went silent, and then when I chased up the agent, it was like we're not going to be touring that period. And then obviously I saw your advanced poster, and Kelly were on it, but. Kylesa is a ballsy booking, mate. It's a ballsy booking. As we both know, the last time they played the UK, it was 40, 50 people per show. I was at there in Glasgow. It is one of the ones you're banking on that groundswell of they have been away and the excitement and being and I think it is. I think it is an exciting booking. I think it is one people will get out their beds for. But aye, it's one of those ones that they better have fucking built up some sort of fan base in those gap years, or else it's big money for a band that don't have ticket sales.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm lucky because I've got, it's a different booking thing between our two festivals in terms of the number of bands and the budget. Like, I can't actually remember what the Arc Tangent budget is, but it's north of 500 grand on the bands. So let's say that this isn't giving away Kylesa's fee. Let's say any given band might ask you for 12 grand. And really, if I get a 12 grand booking wrong in the context of 500 grand, it doesn't actually matter,
Yeah,
right? Does it make the festival lineup stronger? Yes, like clearly it does. There's going to be some people losing their mind about Kylesa. Is it enough people to justify the fee? Fuck knows. Um, I'm really about trying to build an overall lineup. Um, so it feels like a fair fee. I also know how much some other festivals paid them, and
yeah,
it's the same as that. So, like, we all talk to each other at the end of the day, don't we? So,
yeah.
I know what those other festivals are paying them.
And you're right,
And
and I think you've alluded to that in the past, like with Anzi Pazuzu and other bands. Some of them you're just like, these are bands that I believe in. They don't have the ticket sales in the UK, but the bands that I believe in, the bands that come there. And to be fair, I've done the same. I've done the same with Julie Christmas. I paid a fee that wasn't the market rate for,
yeah,
and now we know Julie Christmas's ticket sales in the UK is definitely not the market rate for that band. But you want something that says we're different, that you're going to
yeah,
come and see something different, you're going to see something special. And I believe when Julie Christmas goes on stage, you're going to be blown away. And I was proven right. So there's some of those ones you do, but that was. I wouldn't have answered this question if it wasn't on the fucking list, but you put it there, motherfucker.
good. Okay. Well, Adam then goes on to say, with the three bands doing full album sets, was that your idea, or the bands, or the booking agents, or a combination of all three? And were there any discussion with any of the other acts about doing album sets? Maybe the Melvins doing Houdini or Rolo Tomassi doing Grievances. Um, so between the Buried and me, I tried to book them. The agent said to me, "We need more money, but we will do a an album in full. Which album do you want?" And I was like, "Colors." And so, and then well, let's do two sets. So that was kind of the agent initiated that conversation, and then we agreed it. We Lost the Sea was Gav's idea. I mean, it was totally your idea.
But because obviously I'm just me sitting for a fan point of view, rattling your WhatsApp saying book departure songs, but I assume the band and the agent were up for that idea too, given it's our 10th anniversary of the album.
I mean, I suspect because it's Mark from the band, isn't it? I
Yeah.
suspect because he's so active and listening to us, he said to the agent, because the agent came back to me with like it was kind of he kind of sold it to me as what about doing this? And it's like, well, yeah, that's gone from Gav to Mark to the agent, hasn't it? And then it's to me. So it's still you.
And then me to you as well. You've got this fucking
Yeah.
this triangle of
This
people.
must be a good idea. Eventually I'm like, okay, it's a good idea. So that was that. The Fall of Troy, I was just trying to book for a normal set. He offered me Doppelgänger in full. Yeah, let's do it. I didn't have any other discussions because weirdly, you may not be able to tell from this announcement, but albums in full is not my aim. Bands playing twice is not my aim. Neither of those things are things that I want to encourage. But when they fall into your lap, then yes. I mean, Adam asked about Rolo. Well, we had them confirmed during the COVID years to do Grievances and Time Will Die, two album sets in full on different days. And then once COVID was over and Rolo came back, the band weren't that keen on picking up that idea. Maybe we'll do that again in the future. But again, I'm not that bothered about it. So some part of me thinks at a festival, you're just better off with the greatest hits of whatever band it is.
Yeah.
Just play all the best songs rather than trying to dig into one
Bands
album.
really need a classic. They really need I mean, if you're going to do it, you want Hatred for Mankind and This Is Love, This Is Murderous, because that's what. If you're going to see a greatest hit set of Dragged Into Sunlight or Bleeding Through, you basically want anything that was played for those records because those are the absolute standard records. But there's a lot of bands like I know Perth would be a perfect example that have just got a great back catalogue. And there's
Yeah.
nobody really, and even Deftones. I mean, everyone would like to see Deftones doing White Pony, but there's a part of you still be like, oh man, there's so many fucking bangers that we're not getting that would be here in the greatest hit set.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I don't know. And I've just remembered that I didn't answer your question about the Melvins before, which is what about there was this thing called the Endless Residency, where they play on multiple days, multiple albums, and different lineups of the Melvins. And I just thought that I was dealing with an American agent that I'd never dealt with, and I was going to make it way too complicated and and the American agent was going to see dollar signs and be trying to drive me up to get something different. And I was like, wait a minute, the Melvins have never played ArcTangent. Let's just let Melvins do whatever the fuck they want, play once, and that's it. So I'm not really trying to get all these crazy sets.
No,
I think
no,
that's what I'm
which
saying.
doesn't look like it from that first announcement. It
No,
looks like you're
no,
actively chatting, just but that's the way the cookie crumbles
yeah.
sometimes.
And currently there's no more planned for the rest of the announcements, but we'll see.
But that segues into Rick Powell's question, which is with the two sets, does that mean we're getting Between the Buried and Me and We Lost the Sea for the Wednesday?
No, good question, but Wednesday's going to stay as repeat. Like the Wednesday bands will have either played last year or the year before or some previous time at ArcTangent. So that will remain the same. I haven't booked the Wednesday yet, so I don't actually know what that lineup is. Haven't really started booking it yet. So Between the Buried and Me are headlining Yokai stage on Friday, playing Colours in full. Then they're playing main stage Saturday, another set. We Lost the Sea are playing main stage Thursday, and then Bixler Friday.
Okay. Okay. Brilliant.
So there you go. Good. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. To be honest, those things could change. So don't quote me on them in a few months' time. But yeah, yeah,
That's the plan.
it is the plan. Okay, next question. James Hunt asks, Colours and Departure songs are both more than 1 hour in length. However, typically the only bands with set lengths that long are your main stage headliners. Do you know where those bookings are sit already? So yeah, I think basically what I'm going to do, and I haven't quite done it yet, is I'm going to make the sets longer on the Yokai and Bixler to accommodate Between the Buried and Me and We Lost the Sea, so they can get those full albums done. And it will tweak either the changeovers or the set times on different stages. Haven't made that happen yet, but yeah, I am aware that I think one of them is about 65 minutes long. So
Yeah,
the normal set's 50 minutes, so I've got to find 15-minute set to make colours work, I think. A
yeah,
15-minute extra set, so
yeah,
it'll be fine.
yeah.
That's stress for another day, right?
Yeah, I
Don't
mean,
worry about it.
exactly. I mean, if the worst case scenario, I suppose, sort of a couple of sets get cut by 5 minutes, or you lose a band. But if you're no willing to lose any bands for the stage, then it's just there's
No.
some of the opening sets or middle sets get cut by 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to lose a band, so it'll work. It'll be fine. Okay.
Oh, okay. This is in a lot of people's minds. The format of the poster, this new style, and all. I actually want to hear some of the agent response to it. So, Christopher Williams, what do you think? But what was your thinking behind the format of this poster? I know it's different to the previous ones. So, what spurred the change up, and why did you go with this one?
Well, look, let's not forget that last year's ArcTangent poster was clean and logoless, no logos, right? And the thinking behind that is that sorry, I just my camera's gone out of focus and it's really thrown me off.
There
What
you
the
go, you're
fuck?
back.
That was weird. I think I moved. The thinking behind the no logos is, you get those like money off voucher schemes where they've got a poster with loads of different Burger King and fucking Topshop logos on them. And
Yeah,
it and what you've got is like 20 different branding teams sat in a room designing the Burger King logo and the Topshop logo. And then you mash them together and they don't work. And that is what most festival posters look like to me. They
yeah,
look like an absolute shit show of like someone's just sprayed some logos at a wall. And the download poster is a prime example of that over many years, where they must have a really well-paid designer, and even that really well-paid designer cannot make all those logos look good next to each other. So I know what Gav's going to say in a minute, so I won't preempt Gav, but I really like the ArcTangent poster from last year. I don't I don't think we're dealing with Metallica here, so we don't need the Metallica logo. No one knows what the fucking Mogwai logo looks like, or the Explosion in the Sky logo, or the Electro Wizard logo. So it doesn't really matter. So it can be in any font, and I think it has the same impact. So with this number of bands, we just played with some different formats. And Rob is now doing the ArcTangent artwork for the first time. And he sent me this format and I liked it. Now, don't forget, this is only 25% of the band. So this is a one-off only poster. It will not look like this next time. I don't know what it will look like next time. So yeah, I mean, I can't my thinking constantly changes on it. Rob just gave me a nudge yesterday saying we need to start the trees poster. And I'm like, fuck. Yeah, well, we've got 4 headliners to cram in there. So that needs some thought. That's a totally different thinking.
yeah,
Probably some logos are needed. I'm not pretending I'm the expert on posters, right? We did a whole episode on billing and stuff.
yeah.
Tell us what you think, Gav. Give us your honest opinion. Come on, hit me
Well,
with it.
I'm big. You know, but there's a lot to be said about you can go to like so. Damnation's got the luxury of only having the 30 bands on there. So and there's some difficult ass fucking logos. I mean, Cult of Fires doesn't even say Cult of Fire. It's just a temple. You know what I mean? So I'm with you. It is, but I do believe in the power of logos. I do believe in how good it looks with the logos. We do get a chance to get away with it because it is only 30 bands. It's not 100. So we just try to Bry keeps it as simple as he can. A black background, white logo, no colour, and everything. And so they don't just get to go with a for example, if you get an Alcest logo, we don't let that A go to the fucking bottom of the poster. I mean, there's just bits you need to make the aborted logo. We don't allow this fucking spray to go out for days and end. So Bry works on them. Absolutely can't stand death metal and black metal logos. Drive him crazy. Post rock logos are his favourite. Nice fucking New Times Roman. But we do everything we can to keep the logos right all the way down to the smaller bands. But I understand where you guys are coming from. You need to draw the line somewhere before it's just impossible. I was hugely disappointed that I never got an ArcTangent lineup last year that had Mogwai there in all its glory. I was hoping there was going to be some sort of art that was going to be done that you could buy that would show that lineup with Exposure Sky, Mogwai, and Meshuggah and all their glory at the top of the poster like thing. But it's a fight, innit? And you get, look how many festivals across the world now are just doing A to Z, New Times Roman. Tons of them. Tons of them. Because
Yeah.
it's just like, it's just not worth the effort to get your graphic designer to spend hours upon hours putting together logos, which are impossible to try and make work in a poster, and then have somebody come back and say, that one needs to go up 3 rows, that comes down, that goes there, and then you start all over again. So, aye. And I like I also like a bit of, that ArcTangent poster is not my favourite presentation of bands, but I also like a wee bit of novelty and something looking a bit different, rather than you just come out and saying, here's the exact same ArcTangent poster that you get every single year. I quite like what Rob's done.
Yeah, that was actually what I meant to say, is that you can get poster fatigue. And like the Reading Festival poster that they had for years, it was always yellow and black. And that was like, am I looking at last year's poster, or is this the new poster?
Yeah,
So I think there's an element of that is clearly something new. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a different color to last year, and it's a different design. So I think that feels important to remind people we're going again, and so yeah, I don't know. There's no right answer on these things, and people are very welcome to have their opinion. We will almost certainly have some logos on the 2000 Trees announcement
Although
coming up.
Paul said as well, do you normally put out quotes with yours? Is there normally a quote from James Scarlett?
Well, in our press release, why was it was it somewhere else then?
No, it's on the press release he came through. So Paul's like, "Oh, what's this?" James now suddenly doing quotes in his press releases as well. And I'm like, I thought he
Right.
might have done them in the past.
Do you get our press release then? Where are you talking about? Are you talking about on
No,
social media?
yeah, in social media.
Ah, okay. So I mean, this shows how far removed I am from this process. Essentially, there is a quote from me
Yeah,
that goes in our press, which gets sent to Kerrang and Metal Hammer and all that. And that also goes to our social media team, who, from what you're saying, used that
yeah,
in the social media post.
yeah.
Well, yeah, that's news to me, mate.
Well, that's good. That's good. I think that's I think that's a good move by your social media team. I think putting a quote out there and making it a bit more human works, and which is why we do
Yeah.
it. So, aye, good. All went well for you, mate.
I was Paul's suggesting we've nicked your idea, is he?
That's
No.
exactly what you
Well,
suggested.
fuck you, Paul, for a kickoff. We haven't. I don't think we have, because it was nothing to do with me, and I'd be the only one that would have known that you do it. So yeah,
Aye. Okay.
who
Okay. Good.
knows? Who knows, mate?
So, last question
Okay,
by Benjamin Bland. Questions about the reunions. Did you know that, what's the name of that band?
Adebisi Shank.
And vessels were available and then book them, or did you reach out knowing that they'd be active or not? Equally, did you find out Kylesa were back and available when it got announced for Roadburn, or earlier than that? Well, here we are back with Kylesa.
Yeah, so Kylesa we know about. It wasn't because of Roadburn. It was I got the email from the agent at the same time Gab did, I think. Adebisi Shank, so they've never played ArcTangent. They actually have played 2000 Trees. They broke up around the start of ArcTangent, and they were signed to Sergeant House at the time, and Mick, who's in the band, was working for Sergeant House, and I used to incessantly badger him to get Adebisi to play ArcTangent. It feels like they were the quintessential ArcTangent band, but they've never played.
Yeah,
So, but then he eventually said to me, "We sold our equipment, so we can't make that noise anymore. That sound is gone." So I was very surprised to get an email from an agent that I work with quite a lot saying they're coming back. Do you want their first show back? And I was like, "Fucking yes, I do." So
yes.
that was good. Vessels are just a band that I prod every couple of years. Hey guys, do you want to come and play ArcTangent again? They've done Trees and ATG over the years. You should check them out, Gab. They're great. They're like
I think I know their Leeds band. You might not know if
yes, I think they are.
I
Yeah,
definitely know them, and I've heard
yeah.
Vessels and they are very good. But sort of post metal.
Well, it used to be post rock, and then they went much more electronic, and it was more kind of almost, I don't know. Yeah,
No, good.
they're like a dance electronic, but played by people playing guitars and keyboards. Super cool. Yeah, that's going to be fucking great. I'm well excited for that. So yeah, it's weird out because I thought they were going to play last year, Vessels. Just sometimes the stars aligned and bands are just like, okay, yeah, we fancy this.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
That's what I thought happened.
if
That's
you're an
what I thought.
ex-footballer.
That's what I thought
Go
happened with Kylesa. The stars in the line. Finally, we were wanted.
Right.
Fucking.
I said to Ricky a number of times, there's no exclusivity on Damnation. So,
Yeah. Well, we'll
yeah.
see. We'll see.
So yeah, we will. We
What were you
will.
saying about
So that's good.
footballer? What were you saying about football? Cut you off
Well,
mid-sentence.
I always think with these bands getting back together, it's like ex-footballers are always desperate. You see, Rooney played at Old Trafford the other day, and Fat Wayne Rooney played at Old Trafford in like a Man United Legends 11. He
Yeah.
scored an amazing free kick, and you could see it in his eyes. He had the buzz. The
Was
buzz was back.
it not against Celtic?
I think it might
And
have been.
we
I only
and we
saw
beat yous.
oh, fuck you. Mate, only Celtic would be celebrating winning a Legends match.
Absolutely fucking humiliated the Champions League last night with Dortmund. So I am not wanting this conversation to go anywhere towards football.
No, I don't think either me or you want to talk about football right now. But it's like that. I think at some point, Adebisi Shankar, Vessels, or Kylesa are like, fucking hell, wouldn't it be great to feel that again? And luckily in music, there's no age gap, is there? You don't have to retire ever.
No.
So yeah, let's.
Aye, you get
So they're
back. Aye,
just like,
there's
let's
a bit of
fucking do
hunger
it.
for it. Aye, good, good, good.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was that. I genuinely came on here like let's have good fun. I feel like we went in every direction as well as fun. Okay,
Yeah.
let's talk about drugs deaths and your time with journalism. Let's talk about that time you get shat on for a band.
Yeah, it's good. Always good. Go to all emotions are covered.
All the emotions were covered.
Yeah.
Yes, on the record, Mr. Scarlet.
Yeah.
Where you
Well,
go?
I'm gonna go with a song called Men Like You by the band Heed Blood and Die. Um, I wanted to pick a band off the ArcTangent lineup, which I haven't heard loads and loads of people shouting about. This band are really great. So their agent, he is the agent for Karnivool, The Chats, Animals as Leaders. I work with him a lot on big, medium, and small bands. And he basically said to me, check out this band. I'd love a slot of trees. I'll listen to them and I'll just text him back saying, mate, it sounds like ArcTangent to me. I really like it. And he's like, cool. If you think it's ArcTangent, let's do ArcTangent. So they're a bit like a little bit post-punk, a little bit psych. And then every so often they go weirder and heavier. They're cool. I really like it. And I haven't heard loads of people going mad. So I think people should listen to Heed Blood and Die. Really fucking interesting mix of styles they have.
Those guys will be added. Looking forward to hearing the reaction to your Future of the Left last week. I mean, people are fucking, and there's sometimes people are just taking the piss a wee bit. Like this is the best. This is the best of all 84 tracks that are on there. Like,
Mate,
behave yourselves, people. Behave
it wound
yourselves.
you up that, didn't it?
And we're just like there is a wee bit too much Mr. Scarlet love on that side of the playlist. I don't know. I know it's
I'm
like
fine with that.
the Damnation fan base are maybe we're so clued in the type of music we like. This isn't a big surprise to us to hear like Mariner or whatever, where your fan base is maybe not quite as tuned in. And
Sure, you tell yourself that, mate.
and when I say your fan base, I don't mean a personal James Scarlett. I mean like your 2000 Trees and Art Tangent fan base. I can't put my finger on what I mean because some of the chat about the me like it's just wild. But anyway, I will continue in my merry path with some of the best post rock ever written. I'm going to go with We Lost the Sea. I've done a We Lost the Sea tune before. There was Departure Songs. It was the Gallant Gentleman, the opening track from the Departure Songs, which is one side of it, but it's their Smells Like Teen Spirit. I get the feeling when you talk to them that they actually don't like the fact that is so unbelievably popular against everything else that they do. It's like get billions of fucking views on YouTube, and they feel they've got all this other great, and it's like 3-4 minutes, and it's quite gentle. And it's just it's a departure from everything else they do, which is usually
Yeah.
18 minutes, fucking multiple climaxes of and this is the one I'm choosing. Towers from the album Triumph and Disaster. And I feel like, I don't know, I've not had this conversation with them, but after Departure Songs and the sort of emotional weight to it, they just wanted to come out with something that right from the first note was like, it's like a fire alarm going off and it just doesn't stop and it just builds up and then goes again. It builds up and goes again. I think the concept of the album is like it's the last day on Earth, the sun's dying or whatever. So it's still quite a heavy concept, but that tune is ridiculously good and a very different feel for. So if you're going to ArcTangent and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to get to see the part songs in full, this is give you a bit of a glimpse into the type of music they'll play on their second set. So get your ears about that and then go to the forum and tell James how great his band is, okay?
Yes, please do. Please do.
Is there anything else we missed before I go back to sending thousands of pounds to Europe?
No, mate, just make sure you get the IBAN numbers right. That's your key. Get the IBAN number right.
fucking IBAN and make sure that those foreign transfers fees get kept to a minimum. Pleasure as always, and well done once again in that first announcement, mate. Absolutely smashed it.
Thank you, mate. I'll see you next week.
Till next week.